Hear me okay? Can anybody give me a quick thumbs up if you can hear me? Brilliant. Thank you so much. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming this morning to our short webinar on August Craft Month. I'm so pleased that you're thinking of taking part or have taken part previously and are coming in just to stay connected with us. So it's great to see you. My name's Catherine MacDonald. I'm the Director of Craft Northern Ireland, and I'll introduce a few colleagues quickly. You'll hear from over the next sort of half hour. So Lorna Towns and Jodie Coyne, they're both project managing August Craft Month North and South. Jodie for the South and Lorna in the North. And I think we have Emer and Vicky here from the Design and Crafts Council of Ireland. Yes, brilliant, welcome. They are here and will happily answer any questions on the comms and PR side that we'll cover along the way. So look, I'll just give you a little bit of a heads up about what is going to be happening over the next half an hour or so. I'll just give a quick introduction. Lorna and Jodie will cover, I will give you some of the sort of things that have been happening over the last couple of years, a bit of information about August Craft Month, what we're trying to do with it. Lorna and Jodie will give you some information about just getting what kind of events tend to go down well, what have been successful, how to get events uploaded, any of the sort of technical logistical stuff. Hopefully they can walk you through that process, because we've brought in a new web form this year that was meant to make it easier for organisations or guilds or venues that wanted to upload more than one event. So we would hope that would simplify that a little bit, but we know it's new for some people as well, so lots of time to chat about that and get a look at how that works. And then Emer and Vicky can talk about any of the comms side, but and just so do ask questions because we're on Teams. If you want to ask a question speaking, can you raise your hand on the little hand symbol on your screen, and then Lorna will be able to unmute you to ask the question, or you can put a question in the chat and Lorna and Jodie will keep an eye on that, and then we can answer questions that are useful for everybody or bring you in if you'd like to. So please do ask questions. We'd really encourage that. Just for people who can't make it today, we'll record this session. So if you're comfortable with that, that's great. If you're not particularly, you can turn your camera off so you can still hear, but you won't be recorded, you won't be visible. And okay, so look, thanks again for coming. August Craft Month has been going for quite a long time in Cork and in Northern Ireland, and for the third year now in a row, we're partnering with the Design and Crafts Council to present and promote August Craft Month across the island, which has been a really lovely development for us, because it's a great opportunity really for growing and sharing audiences. So there's a few things that that August Craft Month can achieve and what we really want to sort of develop. So we want to give makers another opportunity to be in contact with audiences, for audiences to meet makers, to see how difficult it is to make really good work and beautiful work, to really understand the processes involved, hopefully to try something out in a class or a workshop, because there's lots of evidence about the well-being benefits of making, and we want people to be really exposed to that and to sort of try and learn and understand that, but also to see the skills involved and what it takes to make a good piece of work, a good piece of ceramics. I think that's important, that we can be part of that education piece as well. From the kind of more strategic point of view, if we are sharing audiences and growing audiences across the island, that benefits all the makers everywhere. So we're seeing some evidence of that over the past couple of years, anecdotally from makers, that people were travelling cross border to go and see events and to follow makers that they were interested in and whose work they liked. So that's really positive. And also last year we had some evidence too of people travelling from outside, from off the island. Actually, it was a couple from Malta were coming over especially to base themselves in Ireland for August and try and see as much as they could. So we really hope that those sorts of things will continue to grow, and we'll come to evaluation later on. But it is why, if you kind of know, everybody hates doing evaluation and asking your audiences and your visitors and your learners to do evaluations, because it can sort of kill the mood a little bit sometimes. But that sort of information is really important for us to show to other decision makers about the role of the crafts in tourism, and telling the story of this place. So please do, if you can, and just capture those wee nuggets if any of them do come up. But so look, I'll hand over now to am I handing over to you yet? In a wee sec. But just first of all, just to say thanks again. Though it wouldn't be, there would be no August Craft Month without yous. And I hope that if you haven't taken part before, you're encouraged to do so after this conversation. If you have any questions, we can clear those up on the way. So sorry, Jodie. Yeah, I don't know if Vicky and Emer are there. If you want to introduce yourselves quickly, briefly, or.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
Hi,
I put you on the
everybody.
spot completely.
Sorry, no, not at all. We were on mute. Hi, everybody. I'm Emer Harding. I'm the Communications and Public Affairs Manager here at DCCI. So I do a lot of the, like, I suppose, the PR stories and stuff. So if you have any questions on that, let us know now or even afterwards. You can always contact us. But yeah, that's kind of my role. And this is Vicky.
And I'm Vicky, and I'm the Digital Marketing Manager here at DCCI. So things that I'll be working on with the rest of the team is looking at the social media that we're putting out, also coming up with ideas and strategies around how we can kind of push August Craft Month more for all of your events on social media, working alongside Jodie on the website, and also kind of any information, I suppose, that you have on different events that you're running that we can feature and use and push and like and share is really helpful for us to have, so that we can keep kind of August Craft Month to the fore of people's minds as they're planning what to do with their summer.
Brilliant, thank you both for that. So like, before I hand over, just to say, you'll hear a lot over the next wee while about, you know, if you take part, we'd like you to share things on social media, to share stories and so on. But however you want to take part, we're just delighted that you do. There will be hopefully press opportunities locally for people who are interested. If you're not interested, that's totally fine. We love people through their own networks and social media and so on to sort of try and co-promote what we're doing, because it benefits the whole sector. But you can do it on your own terms as well, you know, because there will be people who want to do lots of, you know, to do media and press. There'll be people who won't, so that's totally fine. So okay, so at this point I think I'll hand over to Lorna and Jodie, and they'll give you a bit of the sort of practicalities about how to get events submitted and proposed. Okay.
Hi guys, I'm Jodie and welcome, and I'm the coordinator for the ROI side of the programme, and I'm going to start by running through how we apply. Now bear with me a second while I swap over screens, if that's okay. So I'm going to stop sharing that one and I'm going to share this one instead. And has that popped up? Okay, great. So we'll start off by our website, augustcraftmonth.org. That will be where the calendar will be once we do launch. But for now, if you want to apply, we'll click on applications, and we have some extra information here. We have all our terms and conditions and eligibility criteria, and it's really important to read those carefully just to make sure that your event suits the program. And feel free to get in touch at any time if you do have any questions. So we go down to register, and I'm going to just put some fake information in just so that we can see how it works. And info at and apologies for our background noise. So we put in our organization name again, and our telephone. The address here is going to be for our postal pack, and that's something that we're going to send out to everybody. So what you can use your real address for that, and don't worry about if your event's at a different location, there's a different spot for that. So again, we can pop in all our social links here. The idea is that we don't have to put in social links every time if you're doing multiple events. I do want you to be mindful of putting in the full URL address. I'll show you what happens if you don't put in the full URL later, but it's really helpful for us. In particular, Lorna and myself are handling the day-to-day of the programme, and we will be looking through all the events to make sure everything's all links are working and everything's up to date. So the more help you can give us, the better.
Yeah.
So again, then we'll make sure you read everything through, that you're happy that you meet the terms and conditions. And here's where you can add some interesting stories about your maker journey, about your practice, about your organization. And we'll touch on that a little bit later. So we click register, and it'll bring us back to a login page. I'm going to pop in our now, will this work for me? Okay, great. So it pops into our welcome page, and this is where you'll have, if you have multiple events, they'll all be here and you'll be able to see them together. So we go on add new, and we start adding an event description. So later on, we do have a place that, is it a workshop? What kind of event it is? What kind of discipline it has? So for the event title, try and think of something maybe that will help the viewers understand. So I might go and build a mug. Here then we can use it for our event description box and think about what people might want to see or hear about, what will help them want to go to your events. For our featured image, you can see we have all the specs here. Sometimes a featured image might not attach, and it's usually going to be because our pixels aren't the right size or it's too large a file. There's a really good link there to help compress images if you need a hand with that. Also, for the featured image, we want it to be a square image or landscape image over a vertical image, and I'll show you again why later. You don't need to choose a banner. Again, I'll show you that. So you can see that all of our links have automatically been uploaded. So whatever you pop into your profile will be there. And whatever your event is, fill in all your details. You can see if you're part of a GANS, it'll pop up with extra information that you can include. Who's it suitable for? Again, if it's children, we can add an age range. And then we'll go to create. It will go then back to the team for review. And I'm going to jump back on a different screen. Great. So what makes a good event listing? It's really good to think about nice, clear images. For our featured logo, we don't really want to have too much clutter on it. So try not to have any logos or graphics or text. Ideally not just a logo of your organization. Now, we do understand some events, for example, exhibitions, they don't have images yet, but whatever you can give us to make it look interesting, the better. We also want to think about who's looking at the calendar and what would they be interested in seeing. So I have a sample event. So when we have reviewed all the events, then when you log back in, you'll be able to see any events you have in your little profile, and you can make changes. Okay, great.
Okay, good.
Thanks for bearing with me. At the top, this is our default banner. If you do want to put in your own banner, absolutely welcome to, but this is our default one, so you don't have to worry. We have our title at the top, and every event will have an event card. And this is where we can add your maker name or your organization name, start date, end date, craft type, event location, event type, and your price. We go down into the body of the text, and here as well you'll see why it's better to have a landscape or a square image. If we have a profile image, it just makes it all look a bit long. Do think about if you're a space that, maybe are closed Sundays, that kind of thing, included here. We have our image gallery that people will be able to pop through. Our address will also have a map link for that. Who it's suitable for, accessibility information, and our social links. So here, I'm just going to show you, if you don't put in the URL, what automatically happens is it goes, oops, page not found. So we do appreciate the more detail you can give us on that. So that was our sample event.
Okay, so Jody kind of touched on a lot of this, but just when you're listing your event, I think it's really helpful to kind of consider the perspective of your audience. So just think for a minute about who you're actually speaking to, as well as, information about your actual event. Information on travel is really important, and accessibility and suitability. So as Jodie showed, there will be options for age ranges. It might not come to the forefront of your mind, but parking is really important to some people. Maybe travel links if you have really good bus routes nearby, maybe, and accessibility as well. So previously, maybe last year, there were a few events where maybe there wasn't, an accessible path to the venue. So maybe wheelchair users wouldn't be able to access it very easily, or maybe there was a staircase to reach the actual venue and no lifts. So this is just quite important information to let your audience know. If you're going to host your event at an external venue, just ask them for this information ahead of time, or they might even have it on their website. People are quite good with that nowadays. And then the fun part is, why should visitors book your event and what are they going to get from it? We had a webinar with Tourism and I last year. So they kind of covered 2023 tourism trends, trends in culture and heritage, and experience development. So here, when we're talking about enrichment and learning, unique experiences, these are the types of things people want to get from a heritage or cultural experience. Emotional connection is something we've definitely seen come up again and again in our audience surveys. It's something that's really valued, that connection between themselves and you as a maker, as they're experiencing your craft. So, let people know why you're unique and why they should be really excited to come along and experience what you do. And again, accessibility and inclusivity. It's just really important that we are allowing as many opportunities for everyone to participate. So just make sure you have that information in. And we're going to send this PowerPoint out afterwards. So you can have a watch of this webinar here, but I just want to let you know the second half of this webinar kind of focuses on the Giant Spirit campaign, which is a Tourism and I initiative. So it might not be of interest to everyone, but I've also included links to the 2024 travel trends from Tourism and I and Vulture Ireland research and insights. And they're just quite good links to get an idea of what, audiences are kind of thinking about as they travel and what they value right now. Oh, sorry, one sec. And we covered a lot on photography. So I'm going to show you a few examples in a minute, but I totally understand not everyone has the chance to get professional photography taken, or, maybe you're just not comfortable taking photography yourself. So these links here are quite good on using your own smartphone and really low cost ways to get some good photography taken. This video here, especially with Simon Mills, there's some really interesting ideas on taking video for your social media in the run up to your event. So, people are really interested to see how you do what you do, and all the work that is behind what you're creating. It might take days or weeks, and this is the type of things that they're not always exposed to. So definitely show people what they're going to experience. And again, they're all free links, so we'll send this out after the webinar. These are a few examples. They're all randomly chosen, so we're not, choosing anyone, but they're just really good examples of the images that are picked up by the media, the images that organisations like Tourism and I or Visit Belfast or other kind of choose, they are attracted to. And it's a mix of, audiences really engaging with the space and, close-ups of what you're going to be doing. Obviously, it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but just having that open, engaging and creative photography really, really helps. Catherine, do you want to have a little chat about the PR campaign?
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Lorna, and thanks, Judy, for all the screen juggling. Very, very deft. So, obviously, we want just to explain how we'll support you in your event. Because I mean, certainly from the Craft and I perspective, you know, it's the one time in the year when you know, and now with DCCI on as a partner, where we do have some capacity to really promote the sector. It's just a really lovely summer opportunity to do that, to really promote the work that's going on. So if you do decide to participate, and I really hope you'll think about it, you'll be obviously part of the online calendar of events. And with DCCI support over the last couple of years, we've really developed the website, so it's really lovely now, attractive, and every year we're trying to make it easier and easier to use for people on their phones while they're sort of planning things to do at the weekend, or things to do if they're traveling around the island and want to find something locally. So the online calendar events will be continuing to push that on our own social media, the DCCI and the Craft NI, and Cork Craft and Design probably as well, because there has been established for quite a long time there too. Importantly, we'll continue to push, you know, people through our own social media accounts to the website, and in the digital pack you'll get some support to do that as well, which hashtags and so on to use. We'll have paid PR campaign as well, and this year the company that we're working with are really determined to try and get to really increase the coverage at county level, really at local level, as well as it's great to get the lovely articles in the national papers and stuff, but we also want to help people really build up their audiences locally in the places where they live and where people are likely to support them and come back and buy work. So we'll really be prioritising that this year. We'll have some money for paid social ads and for radio ads too, which will hopefully make people aware of what's going on nearby. And yes, and our social media will be very busy, so you can follow those and share as many of those as you would like. And so based on the information you give us in your applications, we'll be in touch with anybody, you know, who we'll be looking through all of those applications to see where their potential you know, kind of interesting local stories are. Maybe it's a kind of an unusual timber or a native timber or a sustainability story, or could be all sorts of things that are just of interest to local papers, particularly radio and so on. And we'll be looking really carefully at all those. And so do feel free to get in touch if you think you know of something that would be interesting. And we'll be sharing that with our PR company too. They can spot, you know, good stories and nice nuggets, you know, really well. So I've got, see, you've got a hand up there. Do you want to jump in with a question now, or do you want to wait? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a quick question about social media. Is it okay to send in videos for reels?
Social media, absolutely, yes.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. I was going to say, actually, so video is really engaging. We find that it works really well across the social channels. So if you're comfortable doing video and you can do it, absolutely. The more video, the better. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I can't see any other hands up just right now. You didn't go back to the screen. I think I'm probably finished that.
So we wanted to touch a little bit on the digital pack and the posted pack that you're going to get. For the digital pack, there'll be how and where to use the digital assets, logos in multiple formats. We'll have an ACM, a little GIF that you can, and thanks for that question earlier, that if you want and if you're comfortable with, you can include the GIF in the start of the end of a reel that you pop on social media. There's also going to be a digital frame that you can, if you're comfortable with this kind of thing, overlay it onto an image that you have yourself. And it'll be a little kind of see you at August Craft Month that you can use in static carousel images. And we really, really encourage you to tag us in all your posts. Use the hashtag August Craft Month and make see buy. And the more you post, the more we can share to our stories. So the posted pack then will be a physical table tent, like in the picture at the side, have a QR code to the online calendar and to our visitor survey, and a little August Craft Month sticker sheet just to use however you like. So what can you do to promote? Well, we understand that it is challenging and time consuming to create content. So if you happen to have content that you've used before, you know, more than welcome to reuse it again. There's going to be such a variety of events, And the events are so varied that you're going to know what's going to suit your event and what's best for you. And do get in touch again if you want to have any questions. But happy for you to use whatever you like. But really engaging images like the samples that Lorna showed us earlier. We want to use our logos and templates provided on all your social posts. Tag us again. And in the run-up, we've popped a few kind of just rough ideas. If you're thinking about doing something new, some new photos, some new imagery, you can do, you know, something like behind the scenes, snapshot of the studio tour, your work, setting up a workshop, a fair, event. And with the big round, we're hoping to, on the 1st of August, have a kind of a social media blast where everybody involved will post something, like in the sample here, see you at August Craft Month, or a reel, or, you know, whatever you like, whatever is relevant to your event, to your practice. And I think the success of the program is owned and driven by all of us working together. And if we can all post kind of simultaneously, I think it really, really impact the program. By sharing it on your own social media, you're not only promoting your own event, but we're promoting the program as a whole and everybody's events. Yeah, so the more we can get out, the more awareness that we can get of the program, and I think it'd be a great way to start getting it out there. So the second element is more to think about what you already have. If you happen to have an email list, please send it out to your followers about your event, but also about the program as a whole. If you're working with a venue, maybe let them know what's happening and see if they can could possibly engage with the program again, whatever works for your project. On previous years, people have circulated printed materials themselves. We're not pushing you to do this at all. We don't want you to feel like you have to, but just if it's relevant for you, you know, these are the kind of things that people have done before. So I might jump you back to Lorna then, if that's okay.
Yeah, so we've kind of touched on this, but these are just some ideas about the interesting, engaging stories that that the media kind of look for. So this list is not, you know, it doesn't include everything. You might have something not to do with this, but so just some examples are, you know, maybe you're part of a generational business, maybe you had quite a swift new career change into your craft journey. Unique techniques, maybe you work closely with your community, maybe you work closely with a craft group or an organization. Maybe you have an unusual creative process or sustainable methods. And again, your success stories, like we want to celebrate what you've achieved and what you're doing with your business. So, you know, definitely let us know. So that section where you could leave that story was up on your registration page. So I think some of you might have already registered. So definitely just email it through to myself or Jodie, and we'll make sure our PR team get this. And Emer as well, she did mention, you know, she works really closely with that. So if you did want to have a chat about this, definitely get in touch. And again, yeah, you don't have, I think Catherine mentioned this, you don't have to get involved with an interview if you don't want to. That is entirely up to you. But, you know, maybe we could use it as a social media spotlight. Again, this is all about celebrating what you've achieved and, you know, the talent found here. And then we come to surveys, which is not the most exciting thing, but it's so important. So the audience survey, hopefully this year we'll have an incentive, but that's not confirmed just yet, so we'll let you know. If you have maybe email registrations for your workshop or event, if you have their email addresses, if you could email the survey out to them, that would be really helpful. Or else if you could just promote the survey by just referring your participants to the QR code on the table tents. And maybe if you're part of a market or an exhibition, if you could just let other stall holders know and just gently encourage them to promote the survey. We also have our event organizer survey, which is for you, and it's such a great opportunity for you to give us feedback on your experience. So we'll send you a link about this shortly after your event. And really both of these surveys, the information we get from them, it really helps us demonstrate the value of craft. And we'll use this information when we approach funders, potential funders, councils, or maybe other organisations that could partner with us on August Craft Month in the future. So, and again, your feedback, it helps us to improve and make changes. So I've listed here a few audience survey feedbacks, and they're always so positive, and I think it really reflects again that emotional connection and what they're getting from attending your event. So it's just so good if you could really ask them to just fill in the survey. And when it comes to your feedback, we do try to take it on as best we can. So this year we have the improved application form, which has been designed to be more user-friendly, and we've moved the timeline up. So we've had earlier application access and an earlier calendar release. We've just got a hand up right here. Anna, did you have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, would you have a QR code for people to scan to do your survey?
Yes, so that will be on the table tent that we'll mail out. So yes, we will mail that out to you and you'll have that available. So that's all on surveys.
Will I wrap up there?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Lorna. So we have decided to extend the deadline by a couple of days to hopefully make it a little bit easier for you to get involved. So we've opened it up to Monday, the 17th of June, which I think is Monday week, as far as I'm aware. And look, we understand organising an event can be challenging, and we want to let you know that we are here if you have any questions or need to chat about something, have an idea, maybe you're not sure, and we'll happily give you a phone if that's easier as well. Around the deadline, it's myself and Lorna, as I said before, we'll be looking at everything, and we do love to see events that come in early so that we have extra time to review. But yeah, please do.
And make edits as well. It'll give you a chance to review the presentation of your event, and if you have anything you'd like to change, we can help with that.
Absolutely, and gives us extra time as well. And do please be patient with us for around the deadline time. If there's a bit of a delay in replying to any queries, we definitely will get back to you as soon as we can. And you can see our contact info there. For Lorna, you can go get her at lornatowns@craftandI.org, and for myself, and Lorna does also have access to the info at augustcraftmonth.org. So Catherine, is there anything that you would like to add before we jump for the Q&A?
No, not really. No, just looking forward to hearing any questions that people have. Hopefully we can answer any, but just to say, just would really encourage people to have a go. We have seen like really good growth in it over the last few years, particularly since COVID. We did August Craft Month. That's that awful summer of COVID. It was all virtually online, and it's just been great to see it sort of really recover, and makers, feeling confident enough to get back stuck in again since then. And then obviously doing it in partnership with the Design and Crafts Council. We've got there's so much potential for this to be a really lovely, international event. But also to have really good benefits for makers and audiences locally too. So look, I hope you'll ask questions of any of the team here and think about proposing an event, and we look forward to it as we do every year.
Definitely. So we can open up for a Q&A now if anyone had anything they'd like to ask, anything on their mind.
Is your volume?
Or again, as I think Jody did mention, if there's anything you'd like to privately discuss, you can definitely feel free to email us.
Absolutely.
And as we mentioned, we are going to send this out once we wrap up.
Yes, we'll make it available to everybody afterwards.
Oh, Noel, do you want to unmute and?
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a stupid question. Do you prefer it to be spread throughout August, or is it like a one-off thing? Okay.
It really depends on what you're doing. So one thing we would say is last year we had very little events in the last week of August. Now we're not saying that you have to cater to that, but just so you know, in terms of promotion, there would be opportunity there. Noel, it really just depends on, you know, what you're able to do. Like, we have people who only do one event, for example, or they might have events on each week throughout August.
Or one day a week, or just
Yeah.
one evening. It's whatever suits your practice. And the real aim is that, you know, people will see that you're there, you're local, and you know, if they can't make your event in August, they'll know that maybe you run similar events throughout the year. Your practice is there all year round, and it's just about being more visible. So whatever suits you. Just delighted to have you involved.
Cheers.
No problem. Anyone else?
Oh yeah, we have another.
Okay. Lucy, the Irish Saddler. Sorry. I
Hello,
can't
yes, sorry.
There you
I
go. Hi.
just realised I'm all here as well. I was just wondering, so I definitely wouldn't have time to like plan a full event as such, but is there like a Facebook group or a chat group or a group anywhere that say there's maybe 2 or 3 of us that are like, look, we maybe want to do it, but we couldn't do it on our own, for us to kind of like group in and be like, right, why don't we do this here, you know, as more of a team effort than just, you know, just for, you know, it's too much for me to do, you know, a whole thing on my own. At least you can kind of delegate a wee bit between yourselves or something like that.
Yeah. We don't have anything like that just now, but that's a really good
Great
idea.
Yeah.
And maybe from this webinar, it will be emailed out afterwards, and maybe if other people felt the same, that could be an opportunity to get in touch, and we could try and help facilitate that. But also, when it comes to events, it could be something, I don't know if you have like a studio, but it could be an open studio. It could be something quite low key.
That's not for me, because I'm based at home. And it's one of those things as well, you know, I feel like me on my own possibly is not enough of a draw, whereas like I'm very heritage craft. If it's myself amongst a few other people, you know, you really hit home the heritage craft side of things, you know, like we're all very talented people, you know. So it's great to be able to kind of draw from, you know, there's Noel, I know he's got some great customers, which I would love to have, you know. So it's like, even if, you know, you're able to bring customers that have never seen or heard of you before, but you can tail off good customers who are, you know, from someone else as well, you know. And it's just, it's a lot of work for one day for one thing, you know, especially if you don't have open studios or brick and mortar, you know. It's great to kind of be around like-minded things, I think. So thanks anyway.
We'll definitely take that on though. It's a really good idea, and I think maybe I could follow up with you after this meeting. That's right.
Because sometimes, like, it's a good example of when to get in touch as well, because sometimes we might be aware of you know, maybe an art center or a library who are doing something, or, you know, someone might be doing something in your area, or where you could slot in. So definitely, if you're, you know, thinking about that, do get in touch. And
I think I'm just always out of the loop of things happening, and it's very difficult to go down a whole list of people saying that person might be interested, that person might be interested. But if it's a case of, look, there's an open call for this specific event that's happening, is anybody interested? You know, it's far easier for me to look for those than going through a whole list, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think that's also something we're working on in terms of getting the word out earlier and earlier. So we do reach out to venues and organizations to let them know about August Craft Month. And I think just year on year, we're trying to get this done earlier and earlier. So hopefully that type of call out becomes more frequent over the next few years. Sorry, Christine, did you have a question there?
Yeah, no, it's just thinking that, you know, from what Miss Adler was saying, that just, you know, maybe some kind of like trails, because some areas are a bit more remote than others. I suppose we're at Armagh, so we don't have, there's not a huge amount of other venues sort of around us that might be involved in the August Craft Month, but would have plenty of I suppose, crafters. So whether it's something that they come to the workshop that say maybe run here, but then they can, you know, go to see an artist studio, or, you know, craft maker studio, so if we sort of knew who the people were sort of in advance a wee bit, obviously not maybe this year, but going forward, then we could maybe organize within ourselves to have some kind of sort of like a trail. So if somebody's interested in doing something for a day out, then they could, go to several things while they're in the one area. If they're interested in August Craft Month, they'd probably be likely to want to do that. So they could visit studios, do a workshop, that kind of thing. So that would be probably good for future.
I think that's a great idea, and we also, there are some trails that have been happening on the ROI side with different organizations that already have that kind of thing in place. But I think excellent for thinking about again. I might jump you to Catherine.
I was just going to suggest, I'm sort of asking you guys if last year's program is still hidden somewhere.
Still.
Okay, I mean, just for this year, if you were thinking about it, we could probably circulate a link to last year's program so you could see who took part local to you last year, and then if there was somebody you knew that you wanted to reach out to and connect to see, that could be a good starter for 10 for this year. And then obviously we can think about next year, maybe doing a bit of work in advance, maybe getting everybody together in the February or something like that to see what those, but for now, maybe if we were able to send a link to last year's program, you could see what had been happening and see who was likely to maybe be interested again in your area.
That'd be great.
And also, like, if there are little trails or networks, we'll definitely promote them. The PR company love those sorts, and they always, so if they do emerge, we'll definitely try and group those and promote them that way, during the PR side of it. Yeah. So, but thank you. That's a really lovely question.
Okay, Danielle, did you?
Trying to get your volume.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Danielle, did you want to ask a question?
So we are a craft shop based in Newcastle County Down. So I was just wondering, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, fine. I was wondering if the suggestions on what to do as a craft shop, what has been successful in the past for a shop environment, because it's different than a local maker opening up the studio. So we're kind of considering what's enough of a pull to get people into the shop, and maybe you could share a little bit about that. That would be great.
Yeah.
Are we muted? No, we're okay. I know that there was a couple of events last year by a few different retail spaces, and usually they were collectives, but sometimes not. And they would have maybe a demo day or a demo in the window was one of them in Limerick, I think. And there was also Made in Sligo did a couple of demo days, and so they might pick a day a week, and it might be a Saturday morning or a Thursday afternoon, and they would have a different maker pop in, and they would just be kind of sitting in the shop and given a sample of what they would do. People could drop by, have a chat, depending on the maker, that you might be able to have a go or just watch. But definitely that kind of thing we have had before, and it seems like it was good. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, number 19 did that as well. We can definitely circulate last year's events just so you can get an idea. So I think they had one every week during August, and it was the maker who sold in the shop. So, people had the chance to come and meet them and also see what they made and hopefully bought from them. Artist talks could also be, or maker talks could also be another idea, if you had capacity for that. It's not intrusive, and it's really good for, again, it just kind of promotes what August Craft Month is about. Just visitors get to know more about what you do and, your makers that you stock. Catherine, did you have any ideas there? Not that I really heard from. Sorry, I don't know if you could hear that. Catherine just mentioned the idea of maybe discount days or maybe like fun hooks like that. I didn't hear of many doing that last year, but that's not to say they didn't. Yeah. They just they mightn't have mentioned it on their event listing.
Yeah, we're quite small shop, so it's quite difficult for us to host. We could have people present, like craft makers, but it's difficult to have them maybe doing things in the shop, space-wise. Yeah. So that's kind of the challenge that we're facing and facilitating something interesting. But we were thinking of maybe a late night opening and maybe something like a discount code and having some people present even to talk through and maybe just showing a few things rather than making in the shop could
Yeah.
work that way.
Definitely.
But yeah.
Our gallery manager at Craft and I in Belfast, she's held a number of Meet the Maker events, which, you know, have taken place late night art. And that doesn't always include, you know, a maker talk, but it could be, you know, open it up for maybe invite your makers who stock and open it up to the public, and it's just a great chance to get to meet these people.
It could even be like an interesting way to do is just have a little like something on a shelf that describes how the maker makes their work, you know, show tools that they use, or, you know, do a little display. And it could just be a way to say, look, here, we're a great little retail shop that supply local makers. We're open for August as normal, but, you know, come in and say hi, and this is, you know, we'll have a show of what, some sort of little sample of what our makers do, or something, you know, just like a hook and a reason to get them in the door. Yeah. It doesn't have to be anything huge or dramatic.
Yeah.
Just as long as you're clear in your event listing that what it's about, and people can
So something like that would it be enough to make an event out of it? That was kind of my question.
Okay. Well, yes. Okay. I think
so. It could be a combination of things. There was another event last year who had demonstrations, but online. So you could potentially pre-record something, say if it was in the maker's own studio or home, and they recorded something, and you could schedule it on your social media. The key thing with that, though, is to just let us know beforehand so we can really help promote what you're doing if it was online based. Because it was quite interesting, you know, how it is when people have to travel quite far, and, you know, so an online event can be really attractive to people. It's just making sure that we have enough time to help you promote it as well. That could be an option if you don't have a huge space to do something online.
I don't think we're gonna go online, because really we would want people to come in and shop. But but I'll consider the other things and have a wee think about it. Yeah. Thank you.
No and problem. If it's something like that you're not sure if it's going to be strong enough to go through the application process, just get in touch and we'll happily have a chat with you, just to save you time, and yeah, help as much as we can.
Brilliant. Thank you.
So I thought I saw another hand there, but I've lost it. Was there anyone else who had a question?
Oh, it was just me. It was sort of answered. It was basically like we have meetups, and we have days like, but we don't teach on our meetups. We just spin together. And does that have to be like a teaching event, or can it just be meetups of other crafters together?
Oh, absolutely. It can just be like a demonstration where people can stop by and say hello and just see what you're doing. Yeah, no, that's more than welcome, and we have had events like that before.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else, or?
I think that's probably a good wrap up then, is that?
Okay, well, again, if there was anything that you wanted to have a chat about privately, just feel free to get in touch. And yeah, we'll work on sending this out hopefully this afternoon, so you can have a look at those links that we provided.
And can't wait to see what events come in.
Yeah. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, just to say, no, and you must apply. Don't forget to apply. I'm just looking at a few comments in the chat. So there is an application process. It's a really open festival, and it's very inclusive, but you still do need to apply. There is still a process, like, so don't forget and leave it till the last minute.
Sorry, I completely didn't see those questions. Yes, so we are going to send out the logo, sorry, the logos that you'll need. We'll send those out to everyone that registers their event. Yeah. And we didn't really mention, but last year in Northern Ireland, we had a different logo. So I just want to make it clear that this year everyone will be using this August Craft Month logo. I don't know if we're still sharing screen, but
no, we're not.
No. But oh wait, yes we are.
We are.
So just everyone to note that.
Yes, this logo.
Okay, so if that's everything, we might wrap up there. And yeah, we're really excited to see what
Yes,
comes in.
Great. Yeah, great. Really looking forward to it. And thanks everybody.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.